G'day guys, Forristicat here. On the 11th of June, the World Cup, FIFA World Cup is starting tonight, so I'm pretty excited about that. I feel it's a good sporting event where the whole world watches and comes together and puts all their disagreements aside for some football. Apart from that, yeah, it's 11:29 AM. I'm not feeling the best, so I took the day off work. I've been asked to put some more reviews together. The last reviews I did, the first episode was an Iron Man 2 review. The second one was my personal journey in video games and my Fallout 3 retrospective. These can all be found on the Talkback World YouTube channel. And now I'm going to be putting some more reviews together. Off the top of my head, they are going to be as follows: Shenmue 1 and 2 for the Dreamcast, Uncharted 1 and 2 for the PS3, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64, Fahrenheit for the Xbox, the GTA series as a whole and what it means for gaming, Mass Effect 1 and 2 for the Xbox 360, the topic of video games trying to be movies and whether or not it's a problem, and the review now, which is going to be Heavy Rain for PlayStation 3. Now, if you listened to my earlier reviews, you would have heard that this was the first game I actually specifically bought a console for. Growing up, I just bought the consoles and whatever games came out. But having played the previous title by Quantic Dream called Fahrenheit, and just never being so involved in the story and characters as I was with that game, I thought, listen, I have to get this game. I have to get Heavy Rain. Even, to be honest, even if it was the only game I played on the PlayStation 3, I seriously wouldn't consider it a bad investment. Like I said, the game was so incredible that it paid off. But of course, you've got other titles like Uncharted 1 and 2, which I'll be talking about in another review, which made the PlayStation 3 even more worthwhile. So, Heavy Rain. Well, where do I start with Heavy Rain? I mentioned in the previous review that it's as close as to being in a movie that you'll actually be. So, what exactly is Heavy Rain about? Is it about a weather report? No, it's not. But it is a motif that is throughout the game, and they did this with Fahrenheit. With Fahrenheit, it was cold weather, and I really like the idea of these motifs or the weather patterns, meaning that it's more cerebral. It's more like it's affecting everyone. It's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. It's saturating the world around you as the story progresses. I thought, heavy rain, that's fantastic. And now, incidentally, every time it does rain, I can't help but think of Heavy Rain, the game. Such was the effect of this game upon my life. So, Heavy Rain follows four main characters. The main character is Ethan Mars. Now, Ethan Mars is an architect, and he has a wife and two sons. I'm just trying to think how I'm going to do this review. Okay, I'm not going to put any spoilers. If I do feel like I'm going to drop a spoiler, I will actually say spoiler review. Spoiler alert, rather. The second character is Madison Page. She's a photojournalist who lives in a city. You have an FBI profiler named Norman Jayden, and you have the fourth character, which is Scott Shelby, and he's a retired police officer who is now doing work as a private investigator. So, what happens? Okay, well, you are in this town, and there has been some killings going on, and more specifically drownings, and this is where the heavy rain motif comes into play, in that the more rain goes on, the higher these water levels rise, and these people, specifically sons, are drowning. So you have to go and investigate this as basically as the four main characters. And to be honest, it felt a bit like 24, especially with the split screens, and they did this in Fahrenheit as well, where there are particular segments where you're playing one angle and you see it from a different angle, and this really added to the present momentness, quote unquote, of the game, in that you really are thinking, damn, this is happening right now. If I don't actually do this properly, or if I don't actually want to, if I stuff up now, then it's all over. And that is in fact really brought into play by the fact that once you make a decision or a choice, there are no checkpoints in this game. So that really is the main reason that when I was playing this game, I thought to myself, damn, this actually matters, and I really want to make the right decisions. Now, having said that, if these characters weren't fleshed out and if the strong narrative wasn't there, I wouldn't really care. I'd be like, whatever happens, happens. I don't care. But the fact that this was such a story-focused game actually made me want my own movie. And if you've listened to my previous reviews, I mentioned that when I play a game, I have two sides of the same coin, which is I'm looking for something that evokes strong emotions and something that has a strong narrative. Now, since this game had both, it's number 3 in my favorite games of all time, but behind Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time and the Shenmue series, specifically Shenmue 1. So, like I said, when I'm playing this game, it was such an emotionally draining experience because the decisions I was making in the game, I really wanted it to turn out for the best. So it was like, hey, I care about these characters. And like I said, if I didn't care about these characters, I wouldn't care about it. But since I actually cared about the story and I cared about the narrative, I actually want everything to work out okay. So when I was there, playing on the TV, the whole world, I just forgot about the whole damn world because I thought to myself, damn, this story matters to me. I actually want to play it out. Now, for casual gamers or gamers who might have just picked this up and they usually play, your Xbox Live, Modern Warfares or whatever, not that I'm putting those down, they may make a wrong decision and just turn off the console without saving. I'm not entirely sure now that I think about it if autosave is on, but let's just say for argument's sake that there's a way around when you make a bad choice, you can go back and you can actually play it a different way. And actually, now that I think of it, yeah, there is a way to go back to a previous save to see how other things play out. Personally, I play a game like this, especially a strong narrative and emotionally evocative game such as Heavy Rain. When I play the game, I like to think of it as real life, so to speak, even though it is not real life. I like to think of it, when you make decisions in real life as we go about our daily lives, as much as we may like to turn back the hands of fate, we can't. What's done is done, and we have to live with the consequences. And when I play a game like that, it makes it much more hard, but ultimately much more enjoyable for me, in that when I actually make the right decisions in a game, and I don't go back and I keep my eyes to the future, it actually turns out okay and actually makes it a much more enjoyable experience for me, saying, I was in the present moment, I did what I had to do, and the story worked out okay. Again, I don't want to spoil this game, but suffice to say, well, I'll give a little bit of background of the story. So if you don't know anything about the story, or at least how the story is set up, you don't want to listen to this review. You'd much rather play it for yourself, trust me. So Ethan Mars gets his son kidnapped by what's known as the Origami Killer, and he is basically out there trying to save him, and he runs into Madison Page, and along the way Norman Jane, which is an FBI agent with a drug problem, and then along the way comes Scott Shelby, who also puts his 2 cents into the whole mix. So with these characters, I guess since I played Fahrenheit, I knew this game was going to be ridiculously good, and they did not disappoint me. The fact that the game had the balls to have a scene at the start where it's a nice, peaceful location. You're not doing anything interesting, well, per se. You're opening your cupboard door, you're getting dressed, you're having a shower, you're doing all these things, and then after that, you go outside and you play a game with your sons. You pick them up, you swirl them around, and the garden is nice and peaceful. Now, this is something I've talked about before and written about before, is gamers play stuff like that and they think, great, I'm running around a gun with my sons. I don't give a crap about that. I want to shoot an alien. I want to go jack a car. I want to be a cowboy in Red Dead Redemption. Where's the friggin' action? I understand those arguments, but again, it's one of those things that you have to sort of like this particular type of game to actually appreciate how good it is. And that is to say,